Welcome to our Daily Portions with WIT Ministries. My name is Matt Russell, and I'm the Ministry Director at WIT Ministries. For more information about our ministry, you can go to our website at pursuitfortruth.com. That is pursuitfortruth, all spelled out.com. Today's portion is 1 Kings 18. Now, Obadiah meets Elijah. Now, it happened after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the third year, saying, Go show yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the face of the earth. So Elijah went to show himself to Ahab. Now the famine was severe in Samaria. Ahab called Obadiah, who was over the household. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For when Jezebel destroyed the prophets of the Lord, Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50s in a cave, and provided them with bread and water. Then Ahab said to Obadiah, Go through the land to all the springs of water, to all the valleys. Perhaps we will find grass and keep the horses and mules alive and not have to kill some of the cattle. So they divided the land between them to survey it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. Now, as Obadiah was on the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he recognized him and fell on his face and said, Is this you, Elijah, my master? He said to him, It is I. Go say to your master, Behold, Elijah is here. He said, What sin have I committed that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab to put me to death? As the Lord your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my master has not sent to search for you. And when they said, He is not here, he made the kingdom or nation swear that they could not find you. And now you are saying, Go say to your master, Behold, Elijah is here. It will come about when I leave you that the Spirit of the Lord will carry you where I do not know. So when I come and tell Ahab and he cannot find you, he will kill me. Although I, your servant, have feared the Lord from my youth. Has it not been told to my master what I did when Jezebel killed the prophets of the Lord, that I hid 100 prophets of the Lord by 50s in a cave and provided them with bread and water? And now you are saying, Go say to your master, Behold, Elijah is here. He will then kill me. Elijah said, As the Lord of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself to him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When Ahab saw Elijah, Ahab said to him, Is this you, you troubler of Israel? He said, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house have, because you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and you have followed the Baals. And then send and gather to me all Israel at Mount Carmel, together with 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of the Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table, God or Baal on Mount Carmel. So Ahab sent a message among all the sons of Israel and brought the prophets together at Mount Carmel. Elijah came near to all the people and said, How long will you hesitate between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him. But the people did not answer him a word. Then Elijah said to the people, I alone am left a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 oxen, and let them choose 1 ox for themselves and cut it up and place it on the wood, but put no fire under it. And I will prepare the other ox and lay it on the wood, and I will put no fire under it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of Lord. And the God who answers by fire, he is God. And all the people said, That is a good idea. So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose 1 ox for yourselves and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it. Then they took the ox which was given them, and they prepared it and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, answer us. But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they leaped about the altar which they made. It came about at noon when Elijah mocked them and said, Call out with a loud voice, for he is a god. Either he is occupied or gone aside, or is on a journey, or perhaps he is asleep and needs to be awakened. So they cried with a loud voice and cut themselves according to their custom with swords and lances until the blood gushed out of them. When midday was past, they raved until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, but there was no voice. No one answered. No one paid attention. Then Elijah said to all the people, Come near to me. So all the people came near to him, and he repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, Israel shall be your name. So with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he made a trench around the altar large enough to hold 2 measures of seed. Then he arranged the wood and cut the ox in pieces and laid it on the wood. And he said, Fill 4 pitchers with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood. And he said, Do it a second time. And they did it a second time. And he said, Do it a third time. And they did it a third time. The water flowed around the altar, and he also filled the trench with water. Elijah's prayer. At the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, Elijah the prophet came near and said, O Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and I have done all these things at your word. Answer me, O Lord, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Lord, are God, and that you have turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt offering and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. When all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, The Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God. Then Elijah said to them, Seize the prophets of Baal. Do not let one of them escape. So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. Now Elijah said to Ahab, Go up, eat and drink, for there is the sound of the roar of a heavy shower. So Ahab went up to eat and drink, but Elijah went up to the top of Carmel. And he crouched down on the earth and put his face between his knees. He said to his servant, Go up now, look toward the sea. So he went up and he looked and said, There's nothing. And he said, Go back 7 times. It came about at the 7th time that he said, Behold, a cloud as small as a man's hand is coming up from the sea. And he said, Go up, say to Ahab, Prepare your chariot and go down, so that the heavy shower does not stop you. In a little while the sky grew black with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy shower. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. Then the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and outran Ahab to Jezreel. This is a very popular story in 1 Kings, where a lot of times they'll just refer to the show off between the priests of Baal and Elijah. It's a showdown. And so what he does, there's some key things that happen in here that sometimes we miss. Here's one. Elijah said, first of all, Obadiah meets him, which is phenomenal. And he says, I'm going to show myself to Ahab. I promise you. I mean, Obadiah was scared. He was not wanting to go give that message because he knew it meant his death. So he said, no, I'm going to meet with him today. And so he did. He met. And when he met, he set forth a challenge. He set forth. Now, there has been 3.5 years of no rain. There's been no rain. He, just like he laid on his left side, and then he didn't flip until he laid on his right side. And the fact that God told him there's going to be this time of no rain. And so Elijah said, no rain will come. God, send the famine. Boom. Or the drought. Boom. There's a drought. And he told Ahab in previous chapters, he said, the rain will not return except for at my word. So Ahab can't kill Elijah because the rain needs to come back. But then also Ahab's kind of going, wait, why your word? I bet you it's going to rain. And so this is showing Ahab that Elijah is a prophet of God. And he's really trying to not show him up, but show him God so he can turn to God. But he invited Ahab and all of his priests of Baal. And then he also invited Jezebel and all the priests of Asherah. But only the priests of Baal came. The priests of Asherah remained. They did not come to this challenge. So they maintain their power spiritually. But you have these priests of Baal that come, and I love the sarcasm that you get here. It really shows God's sense of humor, that Elijah is he's mimicking him. He's mocking him. And he's saying, you need to cry out louder. Maybe you need to cut yourself. Maybe you need to dance around. Maybe he's asleep. I mean, he's just mocking them and trying to get them all riled up. And they did their thing for majority of the day. They, from when they started all the way through until the evening sacrifice was to be made. And then after they've completely depleted themselves, bled themselves almost to death, and totally out of energy, he goes, "Are you done? Is it my turn?" And all that Elijah does, well, first of all, he makes the possible, which already seems improbable, that God's going to send fire down to burn up this offering without him lighting the fire. That's already improbable. But he takes it and he pours 3 times 2 buckets full, covers the whole thing, all the oxen, the altar, the stones, the wood, covered it all in water. And there's water in the trenches around. So he's got it drenched now with water. So now he took the improbable and made it pretty much impossible. And then he said, "Okay, God," in my version, he said, "God, it's time for you to shine. Show your might. Show them what you can do." And he sent down the fire and burned up not only the offering, but the altar, the stones, the sand, everything, all the water. That whole area was hit with fire and just burned and consumed, completely gone. So all the people who are teetering back and forth, the prophets who are kind of split between, do we follow Baal? Do we follow Asherah? Do we follow those? All the people that came, that the prophets that Elijah sent to come there, this was their classroom time. He said, look at everything that happened and deduce for yourself. Are you going to follow Baal? Are you going to follow God? And they all said, we need to follow God. So they turned away from the priests. They turned away from worshiping Baal, turned fully to worshiping God temporarily. But then Elijah went and took all of the priests of Baal and killed them. But the priests of Asherah were still remaining. Asherah is the ones, that is the goddess of fertility, also known as Yestra, also known as Isis, also known as all the other. She is the moon goddess. She is the fertility goddess, where Baal is the sun god. Really, it's Lord is what Baal means, but it's going all the way back to Nimrod. That's where Baal came. They took Nimrod, who was overseeing the building of the Tower of Babel, and they started to worship him. When he died, he became like a deity to them. He is not a deity. He is a man who died, but they make him out to be. So now they're worshiping this being, which is not actually Nimrod. It's actually demonic. So they're worshiping the demonic, and they're all killed. But Asherah, the moon goddess, all of their priests are still present. That is what also brings Ahab down and Jezebel up. Because now Jezebel has all her priests and all the power and all that stuff, and Ahab just lost all of his. And that brings about the spirit of Jezebel. Not named, it's named for the woman Jezebel because she represents or she actually has all of the traits of the spirit of Jezebel, but it's not her spirit. The spirit of Jezebel is a principality that takes glory for themselves, that is greedy, that is a liar, jealous of everyone, just angry at the world, and wants nothing but just more and more and more power and money. And with Jezebel, because she's not king, Ahab is king, Jezebel has to get all these things that she desires by manipulating Ahab. So it's through manipulation and deception that Jezebel gets what she wants. But all the priests of Baal are gone. So Ahab has no power in his pagan worship. He's got nothing. He either has to choose God, or as he's rebuilding up more belief in Baal, or he's got to now side with his wife and Asherah. So there's a lot that happens at this thing. But one of the things that it should really show us is God is in charge. People will read this and they'll say, oh, that's a nice story. No. Why could this not have happened? Where in there are these stories just nice made up stories? No, it's either all consistent or it's not. And the Bible is true from the very beginning to the end, and it is all consistent. So this story happened, and God showed his might in front of the people who, seeing his might, turned to him. And then by Elijah's word, he went and prayed, and the rains came. The rains came at his word, just like he said it would, not because of Elijah, but because of God. Elijah had the kind of faith that whatever God said was going to happen. And he saw some amazing things because of it. And he did some amazing things because of it too. Well, we have the same available to us. And we need to test our faith. Do we have the faith like Elijah? Or do we have just the faith of the world? The teetering back and forth faith. God did not call for us to have a gospel of maybe. It's either a gospel of yes or no. No maybe. So you got to be all in or all out. Don't try to straddle the line. Really search your heart and develop that faith like Elijah. Well, Father, thank you for this beautiful story and the show of your might. And Father, I just pray that for people who are teetering back and forth, that you could show your might in their lives, that you could show them miracles that they just cannot deny the presence of you and your activity in their life. And Father, I know that you love each and every one of us, and we're thankful for that. I just pray that you would just continue to love and care and guide and provide and protect us as you promised you would. And anytime that we get off the path, Holy Spirit, I just pray that you would convict us to ask for forgiveness and come back. And pray for all this in Jesus' name.